Hey YouTube, Shelko4 here. So today I want to talk about people converting their money into gold and silver. And I've got some mixed feelings about this subject. Let's talk historically for a minute. Between World War I and World War II in Germany, you literally needed a wheelbarrow full of money to buy a loaf of bread. As we saw after the Civil War, things like this were of no value if they said Confederate States of America. So in an SHTF situation, paper-based money, at least in the near term before government is reconstituted, will be worthless. It'll just be paper. Feel free to wipe your butt or start a fire with it. So what a lot of people are doing before an SHTF situation in anticipation of not being able to buy anything is converting their dollars into gold or silver. As I said, I've got some mixed feelings about this. What I've come to believe lately is that it's not a bad idea to have some of it, but I wouldn't convert my money into all of it. And by that I mean the notion of having probably enough gold to pay 2 years of your property taxes is not a bad idea. Because at some point, like I said, if the government becomes reconstituted, they're going to turn around and want to raise money, and that's where apparently a lot of people lost their properties after the Depression. They didn't have the resources to pay their property taxes and wound up losing their properties ultimately. So here's the problem. I need a socket wrench like this, and my neighbor has one. So we're going to enter into a barter situation. He's got a socket wrench, I need to buy it. Or the guy down the road has a socket wrench, what have you. He's got a spare, he wants to sell it to me, I want to buy it. As I discussed, this is useless. This is worthless. To go down to the neighbor's house and want a socket wrench to try to barter with this, other than as I said, the paper that is printed on is the only thing of any value there. So you might as well stockpile toilet paper in that case. Here's the problem. Let's, for the sake of argument, refer to this as my gold coin that I, at some point in today's market, paid about $1,500 for an ounce. Is this socket wrench worth $1,500? Well, it may be, depending upon how desperate you are to have it, but most likely not. Is a farmer that I'm going to barter with willing to part with anything more than this socket wrench? That's a risk you take if you present yourself with a pocket full of gold coins, because he's going to turn around and say, I'll hand you a bucket of nails and a socket wrench, but it's going to cost you that gold coin. So what do? Well, maybe you've got a silver coin. Silver is now going for about $25 to $27 an ounce, depending upon what the day is. That's closer to a one-to-one barter, and maybe this socket wrench with its socket is worth $25. You'd hope, though, to get something more for your current value of $25. The thing about gold and silver is that it allows you to take your wealth from one place to another place and have that wealth intact when you get there. The downside is this is all you have to negotiate with, is this. Now, I guess you could use a pair of dikes to cut this thing in half or in quarters or something, and then hope that the guy on the other end is willing to take a small pie-shaped piece of silver or gold or what have you, again, for your socket wrench. Here's what I propose. Don't stockpile all your wealth in the form of gold and silver, when there are other things that you can have that will have just as much longevity and just as much desire. One of them is tampons. Now, somebody at some point later in life is going to turn around and say, damn it, I need some tampons, and this is something that you can buy now and stockpile and store in the corner, and it won't deteriorate if you store it correctly for a long time. So you can have this sitting over there in the corner. You can have thousands of these, and this thing right now in the current market is probably worth 25 cents. In an SHTF situation, maybe it'll be worth $1. So, 5 tampons for a socket wrench? Maybe. What else is out there? Well, my big favorite is ammunition. This bullet right now is worth about 17.5 cents, maybe 20 cents. It's a 9mm. Like I said, it's right around that value. In an SHTF situation, let's say that's worth $1. So, 5 bullets for a socket wrench, that's a closer barter and a better deal for both parties. The nice thing about bullets is that you'll probably need them. Probably a lot of other people will want them or need them. And this is something that you can put and sit on the shelf almost indefinitely. It'll probably outlive you. Let's put it that way. So, to review, if you don't have anything to barter with, you're screwed. If you convert your current wealth into gold or silver, be happy with the exchange rate. However, having a few dollars now in the form of gold and silver is a good idea because it gives you the ability to pay your taxes and deal with the government, like I said, when it gets reconstituted. However, I would consider stockpiling things that you will need, that other people will need, that can sit around for a long time and not deteriorate, rot, rust, what have you. That's about all I've got. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Otherwise, please subscribe, and talk to you later. Shelco 4 out. Thanks.